Oh, hey there. Oh, just kidding. Let's get this out of there. Ted Lasso just renewed. Fourth season just announced by Apple. Today, yeah, we're talking about Ted Lasso cookies. If you've ever watched the show, Ted Lasso's biscuits are legendary, but did you know there's two ways to make these famous biscuits? One is super easy. It requires just 4 ingredients and a simple hand mixer. Yeah, that's all you need to put together the first version. The second version requires a little bit more, but is it better? The first thing that you're gonna need, instead of just the hand mixer here, is you're gonna need a food processor. Yeah, that's what this second one calls for here. There's also some other little subtle changes here to the recipe that you're gonna need, just like almond extract and vanilla extract. Yeah, that's gonna give a little bit more flavor here and be a little bit different than the first version. And instead of using the powdered sugar that the first version requires, we're gonna use granulated sugar for the second version. The question here today though is which one's better? Which one is gonna be the best cookie? Which one should you spend your time making? Well, let's jump in. Let's bake these up real quick. This is gonna be so much fun. This is, of course, the one released by the show. These are the world famous biscuits. Just one, two, three, just four simple ingredients in these cookies here. The first thing that we're gonna need here is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of coarse salt. Of course, I have the famous one from Trader Joe's here, but you know, any will do here. And then we need 1 cup of butter. So I've got the butter here, and it should be noted that just putting a quick temp gun on this. This is room temperature butter. This is at 70 degrees here. You can see there on the screen, yeah, 70 degrees. So this has been sitting out for about 4 hours or so. So we need a cup of butter. And then the last thing that makes this so delicious, that would be the powdered sugar. And of course, once again, using the budget-friendly options here from Trader Joe's. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Let's whip this up. Of course, you're gonna need a mixer as well to make these actually good. Okay, without further ado, let's mix these up. This is super quick, super easy. Oh, these are so delicious. If you've never had these fresh-made cookies, you're in for a bit of a treat here. You could just go the easy route and get the store-bought Walkers, but trust me when I say this, there's no comparison between the two. You want the fresh-baked shortbread cookies. They're fun, they're delicious, they're easy to make. Let's whip them up real quick. Okay, so you're gonna wanna get a glass bowl out here, or a mixing bowl of any kind. I like the glass variety here. The first part to this equation is the butter. We're gonna whip this butter. We're gonna mix it up here. So yeah, this is warmed up to 70 degrees, just as it should be. Now we'll just take the mixer here, and we're just gonna mix that right up. So mix the butter on high speed until fluffy, which is approximately 3 to 5 minutes. So this will take a little bit of time here, but no big deal. Do the old scoop and level. And then, of course, that 1/4 of a teaspoon of this coarse salt here. We just sift this down into the bowl. Of course, we're sifting it to get any clumps out we don't necessarily want in there. So that's really the reason for the sift. Nice and easy there. And then we get back to our butter here, and then we're gonna add in the powdered sugar as we're mixing. So we're gonna do this 1/4 cup at a time. There we go. Trust me on this one, you don't have to be a baker to get it right. This is super easy. The biggest thing is you don't want to overwork the flour bit, but that's for a little bit later on here. And just go ahead and add the flour in. You notice how I've slowed this down here? That's on purpose. You don't want to over mix this too much. You just want it like barely mixed up enough. And yeah, we're there. There we go. Okay. So we're just gonna clean off the beaters here. And then this recipe calls for chilling this dough for a minimum of 30 minutes. So we're gonna do that and then come back and bake it off here in a little bit. Yeah. Okay, now that we have the first batch of delicious cookies baking in the oven behind me, it's time to make up the second batch. There's a link to both of these recipes down below, but if you're using this second biscuit recipe that uses a food processor, it calls for 2/3 of a cup of granulated sugar. Now, you could use just regular C&H, the kind of like grocery store baking sugar, the cheap stuff that you find. Or you could do it the right way, and instead, you want to use baker's sugar. This is available at pretty much everywhere where sugar is sold. You just have to look for it. The only difference here is this is just a finer granule. And that, trust me, that is going to make these cookies so much better. Okay, let's jump in. Let's bake these real quick now that that's out of the way here. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is preheat our oven to 350 degrees. So we'll start that going there in the background. And then in a food processor, we're going to combine all of these good ingredients here. So we'll set up the food processor. Oh yeah, there we go. Cool, cool, cool. And then open that up. And for this one, unlike the first version, we want the butter to be nice and cold just out of the refrigerator here. So if we temp this real quick, yeah, we're sitting right at about 44 degrees. That's where we want to be for this butter. And of course, this butter here is cut into cubes. So we're going to do just that real quick. There we go. Cut into cubes, simple as that. Add in the sugar, a little bit of salt. Now that we've got that all mixed up here, the recipe just says, in a food processor, combine the flour, sugar, salt, vanilla, almond, and butter. Pulse until just combined. And there we go. That's all we need. Don't want to overdo it. The gluten will start to do its thing and it'll become too tough of a mixture. So there we go. That's all there is to it. There we go. Oven's hot. Let's press this dough real quick into here. Just come on out of there. Well, that's easy. And then all we've got to do is just work this dough into the pan here. Finish it off here with this wooden spatula just to make the top of it look nice and uniform. Kind of even it out just as best we can here. Nothing super duper scientific about this. It smells so good. This one, you know, honestly, I kind of like the vanilla and the almond, but I'm not sure which one is going to taste the best. We'll have to see here in just a second, but this sure smells good. And there we go, just like that. All set. ready to go in the oven. This one bakes for a little bit less. We're gonna bake it 35 to 40 minutes. So yeah, just until lightly golden brown. So let's put it in the oven. This is gonna be so good. Just look at that. Absolutely beautiful. It's flowed out more than the other one, and I presume, well, that's because of this CNH, that sugar is gonna behave differently with the flour. But wow, does it ever look good. I'm gonna go ahead and let this cool off for an hour, slice it up, and then we can finally do a taste test between these two biscuit recipes. Okay, so here we have the two finished cookies here. This is the first recipe with the powdered sugar in it, and you can see how much more dense it is, especially since it was refrigerated. And here's the second recipe. This one has that confectioner's sugar in it, or the granulated sugar. And I can really smell that almond, really smell the vanilla. Now, I will say that the almond, I'm unsure if it's too much, but let's give them a shot here. Okay, we're gonna start with the first recipe. Oh, that's delicious. Not a whole lot going on flavor-wise. It's just sweet, and it has that rich, buttery taste that a shortbread cookie should have. Okay, let's try the second one here. Yum. Oh, it's very hard to stop eating these cookies. Okay, the second one, I can really taste the granules of sugar in it. Being that it was not made with powdered sugar, it was made with that confectioner's sugar. They're still there, so you can kind of feel them, like, I don't want to say you can feel it pop in your mouth, but you can kind of taste them, the little bits of sugar, and that is absolutely wonderful. The vanilla and the almond give it so much more flavor, so much more body. And the fact that it does have that sugar in it changes the structure of the cookie in ways that I can't really describe. Well, maybe I can. You can see how this one kind of crumbles like that. Whereas the second one, see, it just kind of breaks apart there. It's not nearly as dry, not nearly as crumbly, and it kind of just has a little bit more elasticity to it, a little bit more chew, and it just kind of melts in your mouth. Both of these cookies are excellent, but they're completely different. Personally, I like the second one a little bit more. That vanilla, that almond just makes it so much better. Of course, while you're baking these, you can top them with a sprinkle of granulated sugar on top. I didn't do that. I just wanted to keep it as plain and simple as possible. Both are absolutely delicious. Highly recommended if you're looking to bake Ted Lasso cookies. Try one of these recipes. I've linked them down below in the description, and even better, I've typed them out as well, so you don't have to go clicking around looking for the recipes on the wide world of the internet. You can just look in the description down below in the video. As always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, now that we have the first batch of delicious cookies baking in the oven behind me, it's time to make up the second batch.